Okay, and the following individual that follow calls will be Heather Washington.
Evening board, superintendent. I just ask that you bear with me. I'm a little frustrated with the board, the superintendent. Unfortunately, I'm not here to speak meek. I'm not here to speak to appease anyone today. I'm here actually to speak with passion. And why I'm speaking with passion is because this is the third time that I've been present. So I know you know who I am. So for those that don't know who I am, I'm Ariana Washington's father. And my daughter was forced to get undressed on the blacktop, forced out of the locker room for no apparent reason. She violated no ed code violation, but I'm not going to go all into that. You already know what that is, and my wife, I'm sure she'll itemize everything after that. Why I'm here is because on October 5th, it was the first board member, the first board meeting that we attended. My wife itemized, she was, she let it be known that she herself was passionate. I remember seeing my wife in tears. I'm sure you remember that for those that was here. It's been a rough journey since then. But as I was walking out the board, Superintendent Hoffman, you approached me. I didn't approach you, you approached me. You gave me a nod of deference before you stated that you would reach out to me. Well, I've never heard from you. And this is prior to us filing a formal complaint. Now, with that said, my frustration is that the case itself was common sense in my mind. Unfortunately, I know you have a process, but in my mind, it was common sense. Why I'm speaking with passion is because this is a 12-year-old. This is a 12-year-old that was treated with no deference, no respect. Then on top of that, her parents wasn't treated with deference or respect. So from the line to the middle management, to the board, I've just seen discrepancies. I've seen no integrity. I've seen no professionalism. Mr. Hoffman, I'm sorry, I could only go off your word. Your word wasn't bond. That's why when I came in, I didn't shake your hand. It's not personal, but I'm a man and I respect other men. Now, again, I'm here to advocate for my daughter. This is a 12-year-old straight A student, entrepreneur at the age of 11 years old, pure heart, if you will, my Mona Lisa, my perfect art that I and her mom have painted the perfect brushes, and we might allow family members and whatnot to paint on it because we know they're not going to put graffiti on it. But Katherine Albaini Middle School, that's what they attempted to do. They attempted to put graffiti on my perfect art. I have a problem
Mr.
with
Washington.
that. Now, as a father,
please wrap up. Your time's in.
As a father, in the last meeting I was at, the board member for Cena, he had stated that he was angry because of comments that were made by the public, and then he kind of admonished the other board members because they showed a little empathy. Now, as far as this board is concerned, the only two that I've seen that kind of cared and showed empathy and understands their position, which is to serve the kids and to listen to the community and implement that. As a board member, it's not your job to save administration or teachers. So if that's what you're trying to do, there's a conflict of interest, and we recognize that and we know that. So if that's what you're doing, you need to step down. You don't need to be here. You don't need to speak on my daughter at all because you don't have her best interest.
Can you please
It appears that you only care
for the next speaker, please? Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm sorry you interrupted me, but can I finish? Why I said, can I finish? Because you put me in this position of passion. It's not like I want to speak like this. It's not like I want to be here. I respect this, but at the end of the day, this is my daughter. And at the end of the day, there's been no resolve. At the end of the day, my daughter hasn't been respected, but you want me to be quiet and you want me to follow the rules and regulations, but that's not how my daughter was treated. She wasn't treated with that resolve and that respect. She violated no code, but I've noticed that the board members have violated codes, and the nepotism that we see is just unacceptable. So again, and then for the two that did move it for a plan of action for my daughter, the rest said nothing. You had, I believe, 3 that went against that. Now, why wouldn't you call a plan of action for a 12-year-old? Just to see what's going on. That would only make sense. That would only be fair. You sit on that board. This man makes as much as the president of the United States. And then I had to use my own resources to do your job. That's just unacceptable.
We do.
You guys have to do a better job. And after this investigation, it comes back to you. I don't trust you. I only trust those 2 right there. Now, I know he's the most outspoken, but he has passion. Mr. Perez has passion.
We like
He's the most outspoken, but he has passion. But he always gets outvoted by the rest.
Madam President.
We'd like to,
Ms. Jamer says she has
we'd
passion.
like to please call order because
We have to do a better job.
we do want to respect
better
others'
job.
times
I
as
don't
well.
wanna hear
Thank
all that.
you.
Sorry, I don't want to get all that.
All right, with the new rules you implemented.
Just a second,
tonight,
please,
I
just a
cut down
second, just a second.
With the, don't
After,
start my time yet.
I'm sorry, yeah. On the podium is Heather Washington, and the next person is Melanie Lee. Please prepare.
Before you start my time, I did cut down my speech about 4 paragraphs with the new rules you implemented tonight, so I'm doing my best to get within the 3 minutes. I just ask that you not cut me off. So to piggyback on him, board members Jamerson and Perez, who acknowledged what happened to my daughter was wrong and unjust and did request a call to action, but were silenced. Thank you for speaking on October 5th. And I just ask that in the future, because this vote regarding the termination of Principal Bahar and Vice Principal Kasho come back to this board, I ask in the future, don't ever let your voice be silenced for what is right. Civil rights violations, discriminatory practices, racist behavior, and harming a child physically, psychologically, emotionally should never be tolerated. And immediate action to protect children should be your main priority as a board member. To the board members who are of non-Caucasian descent, but sat silently when you heard my daughter's story in October, remember your own family's history in this country and the generations before you who were persecuted because of the color of their skin and were thought of as inferior. You too are the descendants of the subjugated. Black, brown, LGBTQ, white allies and advocates for the disabled need to be a united force against the white oppressor in order to make positive change for all. As one of you mentioned in the November board meeting, Black families come to you with 400 years of pain. Your comment is 100% true, but it does not negate that our children are still victims of those same discriminatory and racist practices. So I encourage you to think about your comment in reverse. Instead of Black families coming to you with 400 years of pain, instead say, the white race has had 400 years of history in power and oppressing people of color, and many of their descendants still practice that same racist and discriminatory behavior. In closing, to the white board members, specifically Forsina and Albaini, who have family that are administrators in the district and are personal friends with administrators in the district, specifically Ms. Bahar and Ms. Vice Principal Kasho, as indicated in my November 20th email, 24th email, and December 3rd email. We call for your immediate resignation as you are in violation of Elk Grove Unified School District Policy 4112.8 and 4119.21. You are part of the problem and you are tied to the racist and discriminatory practices in this district. If you are not using your white privilege to amplify the voices of people of color and holding those accountable who harm them, you have no business being on this board. Change needs to happen, and it can't happen until the poison is removed from your schools and this board. So even though your hoods may be removed tonight, white supremacy is terrorism, and we're tired of you terrorizing the Black children in this district.